Hello, welcome to Class 9 of the Archicad 23 online course. We're gonna continue Orlando House's structure. To restart this class, open the file Orlando House Class 9 Start. In this file, you have a part of the structure already done. I will turn off terrain layer, Ctrl L. I will close site existing. Then you can see I already did slabs and columns of the ground floor, first floor, and roof. And I did it because it would be repetitive commands that I taught in the last class. So now we're gonna learn different commands. This house has a structure composed of pre-stressed concrete. And this is the reason because I have a 30 centimeters slab without beams that allows big gaps between columns, and still gonna do steel and concrete columns to complete the structure. But for now, let's start making a ramp to access garage. Going to underground floor. I will put as reference underground in DWG. And here we have some ways of modeling this ramp. One of them is going to Object Tool and using a ramp object from Archicad library. But this object doesn't allow us to do this width variation that we need. Another important thing to know is that slab tool doesn't have the option of slanting. So you couldn't create a slanted slab to do a ramp. The best tool to use in this situation is roof tool. So let's go into settings dialog. In this level, I will put -12 because it's the bottom level, the reference I have to use. I'll keep basic structure and 12 centimeters thickness. Building material, I choose reinforced concrete, single plane. Here I have the slanting that can be defined in percentage or degrees. And I'll put 15%. I'm gonna set a vertical edge. In floor plan and section, I change just cover fills. I choose foreground and cover fill pans 126 white. In model, I change 3 surfaces to concrete light. Layer arc for structure. Okay. To model a roof element, the first thing to do is a line that is a base reference. It will be the bottom edge of my ramp. I draw the line and I appears, and I need to click in one of the line sides to indicate roof ascendancy. I click below the line, a pencil appears, and now I can draw the geometry. I choose polygonal geometry and draw the ramp. Cut fill are displayed here because the floor plan cut plane is cutting this element. You can check on 3D. You can verify the levels. In the ramp top, you see these level differences because the sidewalk has a slope. So now I'm going to do a confirmation adjusting the ramp. Go to floor plan. I will draw a line using line tool. I use the single line. Drag, Ctrl D, 1 meter. Now I have a reference to split this element. Select the ramp. Click on split this X icon, draw a line, do a final click, and now I need to click in one of the sides to conclude division. So now it is divide, erase the line. In 3D, you see the element divided, and this one I will turn to morph. Click with mouse right button, convert selection to morph. Click OK. Selecting this element to see the settings dialog showing it as a morph. So now we're gonna zoom in, click on node. In the floating palette, use the option move node and elevate until intersection point. To keep the thickness, I can elevate the bottom node. I don't have precision, but at least approximately. And do the same at the other side. Here in the middle, we have this sharp ridge, and what you can do is go into Model tab inside Settings dialog. I'll select this element. Inside this dialog, Model tab, change Add to Hidden. And then we have a smoother surface. Well, to understand exactly what you're going to do in this house structure, I will show some images, the final rendering. So here, at the garage's entrance, we have these sloped retaining walls, the stairs with recessed risers, this pointed concrete structure, and some slanted pillars. Seeing other images, you see these slanted columns, and now I have a better notion about the project. Let's proceed. Going to underground floor, you see this cut element. I'll change to the representation, select floor plan and section. In floor plan display, I'll change to outlines only. Now you see the correct representation. I'm gonna use the eyedropper to copy parameters from the retaining wall here from swimming pool, 20 centimeters thickness. Eyedropper, I click here, and I will model this wall here, adjusting the reference side. So here I choose a single wall, using this reference side. Here I use the strat just to connect the lines. And the other side, here the retaining wall. I will invert the reference line. And here I need to correct this element. I'll put here some kind of adjusting element. So here I did a small wall to do this connection. You can check on 3D. And here we have these retaining walls. I need to do the inclination. So I need to model the stair here. And going to ground floor, I'll put ground floor DWG reference. If you don't see it in the list, you can use the mouse right button over the drawing here in worksheets, mouse right button, and show as trace reference. So it appears here in the list. I can use the eyedropper again to copy parameters from the slab. I'll change just cover fields, putting white paint, 126, and using polygonal geometry. I click here to start. I do the polygon. And here I need the snap guide to find alignment. I place the mouse there. The alignment appears. And so I can conclude my polygon. Here in the middle, I have another polygon. And the other side of the stair. Backspace. If you do a wrong click, you can use backspace to return the command. Snap guide to find the intersection point, and finalize the polygon. You can see it on 3D. And now I will elevate this first one, select, I'll press Ctrl 9, elevate, I will elevate 80 centimeters, OK, and I'll change to 80 centimeters thickness as well. Here on these slabs, Ctrl 9 again, I will elevate 30 centimeters and change to 30 centimeters thickness. Now I will model the stair. Select this wall, click on Node, and choose Strat Height. I will adjust until here. Go to Floor Plan, Eyedropper to copy slab. I change thickness to 10 centimeters and level 0. I model the stair tread. Going to 3D, this element is on level 0. Riser will have 18.8 centimeters. Select the slab, Ctrl 9, minus 18.8 centimeters. OK. And now in Floor Plan, I will select this element. To multiply, Ctrl U. I'll choose Drag, Increment, 7 copies, vertical displacement minus 18.8. I'll click OK, start at this point and finish here to have a reference. I just need to adjust these edges. So I'll press ESC to retire selection and clicking here at the edge, in the floating palette, I'll choose Offset Add and do the same. I'll do the same thing for all threads. You can use as reference this black pencil or perpendicular sign. In 3D, you see the stair, and as it is an untypical stair type, I'm doing with slab tool, but you're gonna learn about stair tool creating stairs inside the house later. Now we need to do a surpass one thread over another, clicking on the edges on floor plan. I will do a 20 centimeters offset edge for each slab here. So here 20 centimeters, 20, and so on. Just on the last, I won't do because of the retaining wall. So in 3D, you see the difference. But in floor plan, we need to adjust the representation, turning off the reference. You see that the order of elements are incorrect. Starting here, on second thread, I will bring to front, one by one, bringing to front, to create risers, the most easy is use slab tool 2. I'll drag a copy of the first slab, Ctrl Shift D, drag the copy to origin place, and use offset of 100 centimeters by one side and 10 centimeters on the other side. Placing the mouse over the elements and pressing Tab key, you can alternate among selections, and clicking, you can select the preview in blue. Going to 3D, you can drag the slab on vertical to do the riser. I'll press Ctrl D to drag, and clicking on node, stretch height, and adjust the height. I'll copy this element for the second thread, Ctrl Shift D, I use this point as reference, click here to add, offset add. Here on 3D, Ctrl D on vertical. So here I will adjust stretch height, and this height can be copied for all another threads. Going to floor plan, I will select this element, Ctrl U to multiply, one more time drag, increment, 7 copies, 18.8 centimeters, OK. I use the starting point as reference, click here, and all the work is just offset add for all these elements. Offset add. You can press Tab 2, the Tab key, selecting these elements and adjusting offset. To do inclination on these elements, we need to convert them into morph. Select, mouse right button, convert selection to morph. OK. Click on the bottom add, offset add, and go down until this face. Click on upper edge. It doesn't have a precision. I'll type 215. On the other side, I do the same. Convert selection to morph. click on bottom edge, offset edge, and the upper edge. I may use the reference from the other side. Now we're gonna cut this wall using the solid element operations. So I will press ESC to get out from all selection. Click on design, solid element operations. This window is open. I select the morph, click in get operator elements, select the wall, click in get target elements, and here we're gonna choose the operation subtraction with upward extrusion because we want to cut everything above the sloped morph. Click execute. You see a little piece of this wall not being cut, so I will decrease wall thickness to 18 centimeters. You can see here on the underground floor, this wall I changed to 18 centimeters thickness. So now in 3D, you see the correct representation. On the other side, I can use the same strategy. I'll select the morph in ground floor. I can activate the ground floor DWG to have a reference to mirror a copy, Ctrl-Shift-M. I'm going to use this line. So here we have this element, and on 3D, I do the same solid element operations. So morph is the operator element, wall target element. I click execute, and here too I need to do little adjustments. So here in this wall, on the ground floor, I'll select the two walls, clicking on node. I can do a little adjustment. This position. So on 3D, you can see that now the elements are being cut correctly, but here still there is a piece. So again, this wall I put 18 centimeters thickness. And now you can see it is correct. I select this wall, click on node, stretch height. And now we have this entrance. And here I need to adjust this wall because the reference line was changed. Here I need to reconnect the element using stretch. On 3D you see it. So now it's all right. Coming back to the other side, I will split this wall here on floor plan, ground floor, better in the underground floor. I select the split command, draw the line to divide. On 3D I will convert to morph, and here click offset edge. Here, depending on the angle you choose this edge, it doesn't get the weight that you want to do. So here I'll try to do another angle on my 3D window, and now you can do this morph element. Here I could do a solid element operations. I'll put this as operator, target, subtraction with upward extrusion, execute, and then we have this now. Here on 3D, you see these lines between elements. It can be a problem to solve on 2D drawings as sections and elevations, but no problem to rendering because they are using the same surface materials and are aligned in the same plane. Now I'm going to do this concrete railing. You can see it on images. So here we have this concrete element. And in 3D, I can do a copy. I do here an orbit command. I will select it, Ctrl-Shift-D. On Z-axis, I can do a copy. And this slab here, I'll put a 1 meter level and 65 centimeters thickness. I'll do another copy, Ctrl-Shift-D, but this one with 5 centimeters thickness. Going to ground floor, I'll keep the reference, DWG reference ground floor. I will do an adjustment on the form, clicking on node, move node, and here you can check on 3D window if the correct element was changed. I'll keep just the bottom element in the same place. So clicking on node here, I will choose offset all edges, and going inside I'll click 5, enter, and so we have 5 centimeter offset. Now select the element, mouse right button, convert selection to morph. In floor plan, I will select the element and offset just in this edge. Offset edge 30 centimeters. In 3D, you can check. Now that my entrance is done, let's make the concrete inclined and pointed form. Go to roof story, place the roof DWG reference. You can use the eyedropper to copy slab parameters. I'm gonna use polygonal geometry to draw. And rectangular geometry. In 3D, I will make a height adjustment. So here you select two slabs, Ctrl D on vertical, Z-axis, and click on node. In the floating palette appears strat height. Put here 8 centimeters down. I will select just one of the slabs, transform this element in morph, convert selection to morph, OK, offset edge, and take it up. I'll do the same for the next. Now, to do the vertical part, go to ground floor and make a wall of 30 centimeters thickness. Here on ground floor, I'll put ground floor as reference, select wall, and here I choose a 30 centimeters thickness, not linked, and 80 centimeters height. Here I model the wall. Go into 3D. It's exactly the height of this inclined element. Do a copy using Ctrl-Shift-D. Drag a copy. And here, selecting the wall, I'll do a straight height until the top. You see this small difference here. So here I will click on node, this morph element. I will select, click on node, move node. Here you can see the floating palette, move node, black pencil, and here I need to use, clicking on this node, on the upper node, snap guide, using the z-axis. So you need to find here a point, the intersection point on vertical edge. Convert this element to morph. Here I'll move node onto the edge. Inside, you see this face that isn't correct. I'll click on node again. But this time I choose this pencil icon, add polyline. I'll click in this bottom point. And now you see the two planes added on structure, and this concrete structure in the house front is done. Now it's time to create the steel slanting columns. Go into settings dialog, here on column 2. You can see that it's possible here in segment. It's possible to get a circular profile, but this time I won't use it because my pillars are tubular steel profiles filled with concrete. So I need to create a custom profile to do what I want. I close, go to Options, Element Attributes, Profile Manager. Here, click New. I'll type steel column plus concrete, diameter 20 centimeters. Okay. Using 2D elements, select Arc and Circle tool, clicking on origin point, radius is going to be 10. I'll click, create another circle, radius 9. Using Fill tool, I'll choose Reinforced Concrete as fill pattern. Inside, press spacebar to use magic wand, click, and it fills. Fill tool again. I will choose now steel structure, magic wand, pressing spacebar. I'll click, but now we need to fix this one. I'll select the fill, and keeping it selected, I'll choose Fill tool, press spacebar again to use the magic wand, do a click, and it makes a hole. So now we have this steel structure fill and this concrete fill. Select the steel fill, and here at the right we have this tab component. I will define this element as finish, mark override surfaces. I will override with paint gloss white. Show cut end lines, I'll put black line 101. And it's very important to mark which type of element this profile shall be used. Here I'll keep just column. Save, close the window, and go into ground floor. Keep the ground floor DWG reference. On settings dialog, I'll choose here the column tool. Settings dialog. On segment, you can choose a complex profile. Here I'll select steel column plus concrete that we've created. Turn off override surfaces on model because you want to see the white paint we have chosen. In column, I'll change here to define a slanted column with 80 degrees. In my link to the first floor, I'll type an offset of -30, considering the slab thickness. So here you see total height as 2 meters and 93. I'll press OK. Click to insert. I'll drag this element, Ctrl D, to place it on the right position. I'll check on 3D. You can see it's alright. In floor plan, I can mirror a copy, Ctrl Shift M. Selecting two elements, I will group the elements selecting them. In Arrange Elements bar, we have this option Group. And I will turn off Suspend Group. Now you can see this element being selected together. Ctrl Shift D to drag a copy, using structure's axis as reference to click. So here we have another copy, Ctrl Shift D. And here I will copy 2, but we have a double height. So you can see on 3D, we have here two situations. We also have stairs opening, pillar of double height. So here on floor planning section, I'll change to home and 1 story up, the representation on 2D, and I'll link height on settings dialog. I'll link to roof and put -20 because the roof slab has 20 centimeters. Okay, now you see these double height columns. Now to finish structure on first floor, I will invert the slanted columns, selecting the columns on ground floor, Ctrl C to copy, go into first floor, Ctrl V to paste. So you can see here on 3D, I will invert the slanting columns. So here I will click Ungroup, erase one, press Delete, and now I will rotate this column, Ctrl E. In the middle of the reference line, I find a mark. Here is the first click, and the second click aligned with blue line. Then I can rotate 180 degrees. I can mirror a copy, Ctrl Shift M. And here I can see on 3D to check the result. And I will group these elements. And now it's just to draw copies, pressing Ctrl Shift D. And okay, this was our class about structures. Wait for you on next class. Bye bye.